everyone, and welcome to another episode of Make Your Mark podcast. And oh boy, we have a super awesome episode for you today, right? Because I've got a lady here, right? She's freaking awesome. So awesome that she's all the way from the US, right? And she's part of this mastermind group that I've been telling you guys all about, that you've already heard from several other people already. But her specialism is high ticket sales, like luxury sales. I'm telling you, she's all about the luxury. Because when I first met her in Vegas, the first place she took me into was Tiffany's, right? She wasn't playing. So please welcome to the stage, LeighAnn. Oh my goodness, LeighAnn, I'm so excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here too. Thank you for inviting me. This is so
No
fun.
worries. Now, I am a little bit upset that you didn't wear the Hermes
What?
scarf.
Well, I'm
The Her-
sorry.
that
I bought
famous
this.
Hermes scarf.
Okay, should I tell the story about the Hermes
I
scarf?
think you know what? We won't
You
tell
set
them.
me up.
We won't tell them
If you
now.
stay to the end, you can
Yes.
find out about the Hermes scarf. How about
Yes,
that?
definitely,
Wink, wink.
definitely. And there's a big story behind that, guys. You don't want to miss that one. But before we get into the whole nitty-gritty, right, LeighAnn, I know that every single one of us has a journey, right? Getting to where we are today. And it doesn't happen overnight or with a click of a finger, no matter how many times we probably may think this, right? Or others think this. So I would love for you to share a little bit about your journey on the ups and downs that you've gone through to get to where you are today.
Okay, so I started my business really kind of late. Most people, they start businesses in the 30s or early 40s. I was already in my mid 40s, and I was already a professional musician. I had an entertainment company. I was doing really well. We had fans and we had producers and publishers. It was so nice. And then I was driving home one night and I was really tired. And if you're not a big star, like if you're not Taylor Swift, you have to like haul your own stuff in and haul your own, like if you have a PA system, you have to set it up yourself. You have to, you have to get your musicians, you have to make sure everything's done and booked and paid for and all that stuff. And so I was driving home. It was almost 1:30 in the morning and I had an hour drive home. And I was like, it's real hot outside. This is Austin, Texas. So it's hot. I have an hour drive home and I roll the window down because I'm sleepy. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm so tired. I'm so tired. And so I decided, I thought to myself, there has to be something more to life than just this, even though like I was a kind of a rock star and that's what everybody wants to be when they're a kid, right?
Right. So you're
So
used to being on the stage and singing,
yes, yes,
right? Which
that's
was,
what I was used to doing.
and you're absolutely passionate about that, but you didn't like all the other things that came along with it. Is
Well,
that
and it's
right?
kind of like once you achieve a dream,
Yeah.
it's not really a dream anymore. And then you start thinking, okay, what's next, right? For me and for myself, my son was graduating from high school. I mean, we were kind of like, what what do I do now? I haven't been in a corporate position in 20 years. Is
Wow.
anybody going to hire me?
Right.
Right. And I mean, I've been this musician, gigging and booking and all this. I had these connections, but is somebody going to hire me for something?
You just
And I
made
thought,
yourself unemployable.
yeah. So I thought 20 years, okay, so what am I going to do? So I was looking online and this lady was like, I'm living in Bali. I'm
Oh.
working 3 hours in the morning and then I just take the day off and I go to the beach. And I was like, what are you doing that you can go to the beach? And so she was a life coach. And so
Ah.
I decided, okay, I'm going to try that and see, how that goes. I'll get a certification. She had a little deal where she had gone to get a certification. At the time, I didn't know didn't need a certification to be a life coach, but I wanted to do it right. So I got a
Yeah.
certification. I started life coaching, but I didn't have any clients. Like they were free. It was like free clients. So, I was like doing sessions
Yeah.
and people kept asking me, different questions. And I was like doing sessions and doing sessions and doing sessions. And finally it started picking up a little bit. And people started saying, hey, you're building your business. Like, I don't know how to make money as a life coach. How are you getting clients? And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, it's so easy. It's simple. Just go out and talk to people and you say these things and you post these things on social media and you just build your list. And they're like, what? And so they kept asking me over and over. And I thought, well, maybe like I have a lot of experience with booking and selling my band, selling entertainment. Why could I not help people sell in their businesses? So I kind of switched more to messaging coaching. I did a little bit of coaching for people who wanted to speak on stages. But COVID had come by then. And so I was like,
Ah,
speaking on stages, we're done with that for a while. So I went full on messaging. And so after I switched to messaging, I went 8 months without a client.
no
Eight
way.
months. 8 months. I'm like, my son's like coming in going, hey, mom, do you have a client today yet? When are you going to get a client?
No.
I was,
Okay, so I've got a question there to ask you. So instead of just getting rid of stages altogether, did you do like virtual stages during the pandemic?
yeah, I mean, I did summits, and I actually taught people how to do summits and how to show up, and really crush their, whatever they're doing, whatever presentation they were doing. And a lot of it was corporate people too. Like they would come to me and they would be like, I'm not very good on, I know, doing my presentations. I need to be better in front of my board. Or there was a lady that was actually in medical. She's in like a graduate medical school kind of situation, researching, and she wanted to be more articulate in front of her professors when she was presenting findings. And so I had clients like that. But then COVID, it's sort of, I think it made people feel like, this is not going to work for me. And I loved teaching messaging, but I couldn't get a client.
So,
It's
okay,
like,
there's several questions I got for you there, right? Like, number one, how do you even survive that? Because the bills still keep coming in, right?
well, I mean, I had a little margin because of my other business. So, my other business, it sort of ended. So I had this music business that was still making money. I still had, money coming in from that. And I had some margin. So, one of the things I always tell people is that if you don't have margin and you're desperate to get a client, it's really not a very good place to be in. It's
Right.
okay to get, it's really okay to get something else. Oh, and the other thing I did with supplement was I sold whitening toothpaste online, which is the utterly ridiculous, but you would be
What?
amazed. I was making like $1,000 a month
No
or
way.
$1,500 a month selling whitening toothpaste, which is like an MLM. I wasn't recruiting anybody. I was literally just selling the toothpaste.
Where did that idea come from? That's so random.
It was some random lady was like, do you want to try selling this? And I was like, I guess. I mean, I'll do whatever. I need some money. And so she was like, okay, well, this is all you have to do. And they drop, you buy the tubes and then you sell it for, double what you pay for it. And I was like, okay. And so
Right.
I did a launch. I did a launch for toothpaste.
Wow. And that
So,
worked out for you,
and
clearly.
then, and then I got like recurring people. They kept ordering
Wow.
from me. And so I quit that eventually when my business sort of took off, but
Yeah.
it helped me to have margin and to have not feel so desperate of every client didn't need to sign up with me. I could just be sort of in
Right.
my power, right? Because I had the toothpaste money coming in.
That's awesome. I
Like I
love
did
that.
posts and I did emails, I did a launch for toothpaste. It was ridiculous.
Oh my goodness. I absolutely love that. You know, and the thing is, because I've got to know you, got to know your personality, I was like, you know what, that doesn't sound so strange. I know
And it's
you.
just like, whatever, okay. Like, let's do it.
Exactly. And so I want to take a couple of steps back here, right? Because as business owners, right, as entrepreneurs, we do wear many different hats. And you're a mother, you already mentioned, right? Your son was coming
Yes.
into you, asking you, have you made a sale yet? Like, have you got another client? Right? As a mother, right, who's also teaching her own son, right, and showing
Mhm.
them, right, what is possible. How did you manage, or what did that conversation look like with you and your son, right? Keeping in mind that you want to keep yourself motivated and him motivated as well.
I would just tell him, and he knows this. I mean, he's very good about trying over and over and over until it just
Oh,
works. So it's a little unusual, but he's been that way since he was a kid. He just has a very determined. He doesn't care if he fails. It's like it does not phase him at all.
wow.
It's so strange. I wish I had this talent because he can just compartmentalize it and go, okay. But
Interesting.
I would say, no, I don't have, like, I would feel bad about myself. And I would say, no, I don't have a
Mhm.
client. Yeah. He goes, when are you going to get a client? I'm like, I can't tell you when I'm going to get a client, but I'm doing all the activities to get client. And
Right.
at the time he was working for a sporting goods store. Or no, he was working for a movie theater. This is a little bit before COVID. He was working for a movie theater.
Oh,
And he was their best salesperson because he would upsell everybody in the concession line. So he
interesting.
would say, they would order a popcorn and Coke, and all the other people would just get the popcorn and Coke, and they would give it to him. He'd go, well, if you added $1, you could get a candy with that, a
Ah,
king size candy. if you get the number two, it's a better deal. And they would go, okay, the number two. And so every time he would work, the movie theater would make like twice the money
Oh wow.
because he
Wait,
would upsell.
yeah. So did he learn that from you? Did you teach him this at a young age?
We are all of my family are salespeople. So my husband's a salesperson. I mean, he's a really good salesperson. And my son is actually a pretty good salesperson too. But I would tell him, okay, you know how you're upselling people at the theater,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes they don't take the upsell. And he
Mm.
goes, yeah, that's true. I'm like, this is kind of where I am. So it's me trying to actually get people into my movie theater. They even haven't even bought the ticket to the movie theater yet. I've got to get them in the theater. Then I can sell them the concessions. And
Yeah.
he's like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Ah, interesting. Interesting. Oh my goodness. Okay, so what happened? So this 8 months, right?
Yeah,
No clients.
yeah, it
Where
was
was
hard.
a turning point?
I kept okay. I would go into my husband. This is something. This is like real. I would go into my husband every day, and I'd say, if I don't get a client by, July 4th, I'm
Mm-hmm.
quitting. And he
Oh,
would go, oh, okay, okay.
okay.
And I would say, if I don't get a client by, Halloween, I'm quit. Like I would give myself a deadline, but then I would get to the deadline and I would go, I'm just going to keep going. And so at one point he said, I think it was when I said Halloween, I said, or Christmas or something. I said, Christmas, if I don't get a client by Christmas, I'm quitting. And he said, LeighAnn, you never pick anything easy, ever. He said, you pick the hardest thing. You don't go work in cubicles. You go and start bands and get gigs. Go, play it, South by Southwest. And also, he said, you don't do anything easy. So why do you expect this to be? He says, you do
Right.
hard and
Mm.
you always accomplish it. So why not just treat this like anything else? It's going to be hard. And he was right, because when I started my bands, like we were playing, I remember playing a coffee shop, and we had to get a guy to go open for us. Like we didn't pay him anything. They didn't pay us either. So we got a coffee shop. We got this guy to open for us. We found on
Yeah.
Craigslist, and no one was there except his
What?
girlfriend. His
On
girlfriend.
Craigslist.
Yeah, I know this is a long time ago. His girlfriend, my bandmate's sister-in-law, and her dog. That was all that was there.
Oh
And
my
we were
God.
playing for tips, right?
Oh wow.
But it happens a lot. So when you're building your band, right, it's not a lot different than building your business. You're playing to empty rooms, basically,
Right. Yeah.
right?
Hmm. Yeah, that
And
makes
and
sense.
you have to kind of like be okay with the feeling of this room is empty,
Yeah.
but I can see it full. I can envision the success coming.
Right.
It's
Oh
coming. It's
goodness.
coming. It's coming. Which it's very hard to do. Like that takes a certain skill in your mind. I think it's what makes entrepreneurs actually entrepreneurs. There's a lot of people leaving the industry that are not true entrepreneurs. I can
Right.
tell,
Oh
right?
goodness.
Because they don't have it. They
Yeah.
can't see the room filled. They can't make it work until then.
It's almost like, yeah, you got to be a visionary, right? You got to
Yeah.
be able to see what's going to happen and just keep going, even though it's not right there in front of you. And this is actually reminds me, right, of when people start building communities online, right? And you're
Oh
speaking
yeah.
to an empty room. No
Oh
one's
yeah.
responding, no one's
Oh
viewing.
yeah. I've got a story about that.
You do? Oh my, you got loads of stories. You got to tell us about that then, right? Because what you
Okay.
just said to me about like singing in front of an empty room is exactly like building a community.
Yes, it is. It is. And I played a lot of empty rooms, but when I started my community, I was watching this lady that was in Bali, and she had 14,000 people in a Facebook group. And I thought that sounded as high as the moon. It was like so out of reach for me that I thought I will never get there, but I've got to start somewhere. So I asked a few friends, would you join my group? And I had about 11 people, and I was calling myself a visibility coach because I don't know what that was the thing then. Visibility was the thing. I don't even know what I was doing. And I had somebody come in my DMs and go, you only have 11 people, like you're not very visible.
Oh no. Oh goodness. How did you take that feedback?
It made me feel, well, first it made me feel mad, but then it started making me think, okay, how can I get people in there? How do I get people in there? And so
Right.
what I did was I went out and found some people that had followers. And I
Okay.
said, hey, I'll feature you in this group. It's real small right now, but I would love for you to come and speak. I can't pay you anything, but I would love for you to come and speak. And you can advertise You can sell, you can do whatever you want to in this group.
Ooh,
And
okay.
I would tell people, if you want to join the group, you can sell in the group. You can still sell in my group. You can
Wow.
still any day, anytime. You can put your freebie in there. You can sell. I don't care. Like it's called clients, cash, and credibility. So if you want clients and cash, come in and sell. There's people that get clients in there.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, you can sell any day, anytime. That brought people in. But also these people had followers. And so they would bring some people in with them, but then people would see, ooh, Juliet's in there. Ooh, maybe I need to join. Ooh, Tabitha's in. Who, I remember all everybody's names, but it was like they would get in there because they would see the list of people in there were
Ah,
pretty good people.
yeah.
And little did they know that I bribed them by giving them, a stage, basically. And that started growing it. Now it's like, a faucet, like it's a drip, drip,
Yeah.
drip. It's not like I have 14,000 people in there, but I do have almost 3,000. So
Oh,
over time,
congratulations.
right, over time, it was like a drip, drip, drip,
Yeah.
to get people in. And after a while, they were coming in for me, not just for the people that I had featured.
Mm.
So I'm not a visibility coach anymore. But all that to say that that comment made me really go out and sort of beat the bushes to get people in, if that
Wow.
makes sense.
Yeah, totally. But that probably comes from your experience as being a singer on stage, right? That persistency, that determination, because you're like, I've seen this before. This is just now online, right?
Right.
And so you had that already. You're on the road, right? And you're going
Right.
from stage to stage to stage. Why would it be any different online, right? However,
Yeah.
a lot of people do, right? And would think it is completely different because it's online,
But
right?
people are the same, right? People are the same. Human behavior is the same, and our desires and motivations are the same. They don't change. They've been the same since the dawn of time. We have the same desires, the same motivations, and the same things that create, either behavior change or create people to act, right? So you have to like it's an effort to get into somebody's Facebook group. You
It
have to
is.
really kind of you have to want to be there. Like for a while, we were just joining them all. But now it's like, do I really want to be in there? Do I really, do I vibe with that leader? Is everybody just like spamming, or is there any activity at all that actually makes sense for me to get in there? Do I want to build my community with this group too, or do I not? And
Yeah.
that, you have to kind of come to grips with it. There's a lot of choices people have. You
Yeah.
have to make it really almost like sexy to get people in there, right?
Definitely. But I feel like, because I know I've seen what you've been doing, right? We've all heard of it in the mastermind group, right? And so I feel like where you're telling me all these different steps that you took and in messaging and just sticking to being determined and just going for it, it's the reason why we see so much magic happening when you put stuff out there, when you put posts out there, right? And so, for example, what I'm talking about here is something that you did recently, right? And everyone in Dow was like, holy crap, that was so freaking awesome. And that was a post, right? You can explain this to the audience about Bridgerton, an event that you did very recently, right? Do you want to tell everybody about that? Because
Sure.
that was epic. The messaging was epic, right? We were like, why did no one else think about this? This is so cool. So tell us what you did then, where the idea came from.
Okay, so I was scrolling down my feed and I was thinking to myself, there's a lot of noise, and everybody knows this. And we're so overwhelmed with all of the stuff out there that we could consume. And we're overwhelmed with screens, we're overwhelmed with just content everywhere. And I kept seeing people, they would either post their offers or
Mhm.
they'd be posting about Bridgerton. And I
Ah,
thought, okay, what could I do that would be really fun, that would maybe help some people get some sales, and also be something that I could make a little money off of, maybe sell off the back of it. Like, how could I get creative? And I thought, well, I could talk about why we love Bridgerton and how to apply that to your offers. So, like I said, human behavior is the same. The desires are the same. So, I covered what the human desire of, let's just say, I'm going to give you one of the points because I'm not going to give everything away. But one of the points I said was that, what are people doing in Bridgerton? What do they do every day?
okay. So before you go down that road, there might be some
Right.
people that don't know what Bridgerton is. Do
Okay.
you want to
Well, maybe
explain
we
what
should
that
explain that.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bridgerton is a Netflix drama. It's the most watched Netflix drama I think of all time, and it's a series. It's a series of books actually, and then Shonda Rhimes has written scripts that go along with it. It's like 1800s, but it's done in a modern way, in a modern twist. There's a lot of different things that are like winking to the audience. There's modern music in it, but it's done by string quartets. There's different races like for the dukes and the queen, and it's really cool the way she's modernized it. But it's got a very viral sort of central theme to it. There's conflict. It's fun. It's sexy. It's got happy endings. It's got intrigue and curiosity and all these things built in. And so everybody is glued to their screen because we're all bored out of our mind. Right? Are you bored? I'm so bored with stuff online. I can't even, like, I'm going to poke my eyes out like with some kind of spork. I'm like, I don't, it's like the same old, same. Everybody's selling the same thing. They're saying the same thing. They're doing the same thing. I thought, I want to do it different. I want to do it to where people could go, oh, that's so fun. Oh, that's so cool. I'd love to go to that. I wanted to be different, but I also wanted it to be helpful to people.
Right, yeah.
And I think engaging people right now is hard. It's hard. You have to get creative.
Definitely, definitely. Which is why what you did with this was so freaking genius. Right? Oh, we got a thumbs up.
Yeah, that was me. My AI loves me.
I love that you love AI.
I wasn't even doing anything. I just had my hand up.
I think, yeah, when you do certain gestures, it comes up. I don't know, it doesn't
No,
work.
I know. I think when you do this, you're supposed to get, sometimes it gives you balloons. I don't know if it's going to do it or not.
Yeah, it's whenever it feels likes it. Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes it loves me, sometimes it
Yeah.
doesn't. But on the actual class, like we went through the class, I was talking about human behavior and why Bridgerton is pulling you in certain ways. And so one of the things I said was Bridgerton, the people on Bridgerton, they don't do anything. They walk around, they promenade, they go to dance, they go riding and hunting, and they eat a lot of really cool food.
Yeah.
They go have tea.
Yeah.
They're playing games. I mean, they're not working.
No.
Right. And so I think right now, like generally in society, we're tired. We're
Yeah.
tired. We want to have more fun. We don't want to work very hard. And so it's kind of counterintuitive. You do have to work hard right now because it's a little slow, but we we also desire to have a lot of freedom to do whatever we want to do.
Yeah.
And maybe that is you want to work in your business more. I don't know, but it's freedom to feel like you have luxurious amounts of time and energy and creativity and adventurousness and even connection, because there's a connection piece in it too, because the Bridgerton characters are very sexy too.
Yes.
So there's a lot of that in there too,
Yeah.
which I think people like, right? We like that. So that's missing from a lot of the content out there that's not very sexy. It's not, it doesn't represent, hey, everything that people are posting looks so hard, right? Oh, that looks really hard. Oh, you're going to learn all these things. You're going to get 10 modules. Oh my God.
Yes, very true.
You can keep your modules right
You
now.
came in and put a twist in it and put loads of sass, sexy, excitement into learning.
Yeah. And so I will tell you though, after the class, I signed a new client into a membership that I have that's called the 7-Figure Accelerator. And she's been a client of mine. She's a client of mine a long, long time ago, in a kind of just a short container. But she made $2,000 overnight with one thing that she learned in that class.
Stop. Are you serious? Okay.
She gave me her Stripe account screenshot.
Stop. Okay, so that means you got to do another Bridgerton event.
Then I wouldn't ever sell it again, but I think I might sell it again because my goodness.
You need to.
Like, I mean, Bridgerton part 2, but I did it a couple of different times, so I could, get everybody's time zone. But I think that there's a lot of people not online necessarily right now. But I mean, it was amazing. So I don't know, maybe I need to do it again. But yeah, I was amazed. And she goes, of course I needed to come into your membership because this is a no-brainer. I made all this money. And I'm like, yeah, you basically you paid for like 5 months of it just from the thing that you learned yesterday. She goes, like, it was just a crazy, it was just crazy. I just threw something together. It just sold really, really well. And I was like, she's like, just put that one element in that you were talking about. And I was
I
like,
love it.
oh,
That is super cool. And I mean, Bridgerton itself has three different series, right? So you need to do it at
yes,
least
it's three.
three different times, right? Just to keep up.
Yeah, I know maybe it's Bridgerton part two, but
Right.
it was really, I think people really enjoyed it. It was not like a task to come to. It was this feeling of, oh, this is fun. So like all my slides just had Bridgerton characters on them.
That is super cool. I love it. I
There
love the
wasn't any like writing. It was just, I would throw a picture up and it would be the queen and I'd be talking about the queen. And I'd throw a
idea.
picture up and I'd be talking about Lady Whistledown. So if you don't know the characters, like I would recommend you go watch this series because it will help you sell if you understand what they're doing because
Right.
everybody's watching it. So if you're
Now,
not watching it, you should
I
go watch it.
right, definitely. I always recommend everyone to go watch Bridgerton, right? Because of all the elements that you've mentioned, right? But it is an educational piece as well,
It
right?
is.
That is there's huge sales and like marketing points to this. And the fact
Yes.
they have all these different characters that play a different role, right? It makes it all exciting, it's modernized, it's sassy,
Mm-hmm.
it's sexy,
Mm-hmm.
all the things that we're missing right now, you know?
Yes.
The thing is, if people can't see it, right? If there's people out there that are watching it and they're like, they can't see the business side of it, are you able to interpret it for them?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I mean that's what I did on that class, right?
right.
So the class I talked about, there's three areas that we buy from. I'm not going to reveal that right here because I would
Mm.
want you to get something from me. But there's three human desires that we base most things we buy off of, especially expensive things. So
Yeah.
people think that we buy for like efficiency and convenience and profit, economy. We don't buy for any of those things. There's basic human desires that drive what we buy.
Hmm.
And that is what I think most people are missing right now because they're thinking that people they're buying a program or they're buying a solution. They're actually buying their desire.
Mm. Right. Right. And see, this is another thing with Bridgerton because they were all about the wealth, right? And living
Right.
in wealthy lifestyle, right? Not the things that we need, the basics in life. It was all about the wealth, right? And that brings me to what you do, the high ticket sales, right? High,
Right.
the luxuries that
Yeah.
we want to have in our lives just because we can.
Yes. And
Right.
not
That's
just
what
like,
makes
I
us
think
feel
not
good
just
about ourselves.
right. It's not just about like I mean, luxury is different for everybody. So let's just
Right.
say that it's having everything that you want and not having to sacrifice.
Mm,
So if we have to sacrifice, that's what I don't like to see, especially women have to do because most of our lives we
yeah.
sacrifice, right? My mother sacrificed. She sacrificed most of her life. She sacrificed it for other people. She sacrificed it for my dad. I mean, she was always in sacrificial mode. And she never
Mm,
really got what she truly wanted. No, some of it, yeah, but most of it, no. And I
wow.
think it was because she didn't see it was possible for her.
Interesting. And so
And
you grew up seeing that side of things.
yeah, I mean, she was
Oh, there's a
she
bubble
was.
again.
I know. I'm sorry. I don't know why it
You're
does that.
good.
I just make hand gestures and it does that. No, my mom was. She was born at a time when and grew up at a time that women couldn't have their own bank accounts. You couldn't have your own business. You couldn't have your own credit card. So your father or your husband had to do everything in that area until 1975 in America. That's
Wow.
when things changed. So in
Interesting.
1975, women could have bank accounts. So my mother, all during her childhood and her young adulthood, there wasn't any possibility for her. There wasn't anything for her, if that
Yeah.
makes sense, right? There
Yeah.
wasn't
No,
a business opportunity or something that she could go like achieve her dreams. She had to sacrifice.
So
And she was,
I'm assuming that kind of is where it kind of led you to be like, nope, I'm not doing this.
yes.
Right?
Now, don't get me wrong. Like I have sacrificed. I have a son, and if you have kids, you know you sacrifice. Sometimes you sacrifice for your family, or you sacrifice what you need so that people can have what they need. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's something that's part of your past too. For me, it was more of this feeling of you know I don't want to have to sacrifice everything in my whole life. Like I do want to achieve my dreams. I do want to be a rock star. I do want to have a business. I do want to have something successful. I want to be able to travel and have friends that are have like-minded goals and achievements. I don't want to be in a cubicle somewhere stuck in a job that I don't like. And so I think that's a lot of times where women are like, well, I guess this is all that's all I can get. This is all I want. So like I think of luxury as expand your mind, right?
Mm.
Expand what's possible for you. If the world was your oyster and money were no object, what would you do and be? How would you be? Who would you hang out with? What would you wear? I mean, maybe you still wear yoga pants. I don't know. Maybe that's luxury because they're soft. But maybe you buy really nice yoga pants that don't get threadbare real fast, and they make your rear look good, right?
Right. Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
maybe you're, that I think that's the key. But luxury can be all different levels. It doesn't have to be like a luxury bag. It could just be something that's really important to you that is lasting and valuable and even artistic and sometimes even rugged, because luxury can sometimes have a ruggedness to it too. We have to sort of expand what we think about when we think about these things.
Right. What it actually means to us. What does luxury mean to us,
Yes.
right?
Yes. What does it mean to us?
I love that. I love that. Now, so I want to bring up, right, what we brought up in the beginning, right? And that was
Okay.
that scarf of yours.
Okay.
We've got to tell people what happened here, right? Because,
Okay.
first of all, I just want to kind of set the
Well,
scene.
you could tell that. I was going to say you could tell part of it because you were
I
there.
want to, I was there and I saw
We're
what
in
was
Las
going on.
Vegas. We're in Las Vegas, right? Keep
Yeah.
going.
Yeah. So we're in Vegas now. And keeping in mind, this is the first time I met LeighAnn, right, in Vegas.
We
First
don't know each
time
other.
we didn't know each other. First time we hung out, we met, like we only know each other's names or virtually because of this mastermind that we're in, right? And she was giving me a tour of Vegas, which was awesome. And we came to Hermes. And she was like, "Oh, this is scarf that I've been looking at for a long time. It's been a few months, and she's seen it somewhere else, and she didn't buy it. And she kind of was feeling like, oh, I wish I did. I got this, she was having regrets and everything. And then we went into the store, and she asked for it. She was like looking around, couldn't see it anywhere. I was like, ask for it, ask for it. See if they've got it. You don't know if they've got it in the back stock, right? See what's going on." She asked for it, and for the whole time we were there, she was like, I'm in and do I buy it? Don't I buy it? But it looks so cute and you can do this with it and it's in reverse. She knew this product inside out, right? Because she's been like watching it, staring at it, researching it for the longest time, right? And all she was doing was procrastinating. We don't know why she was procrastinating. What was going on there, LeighAnn? Tell us what was happening there.
Well, I think, when I finally did decide to buy it, like I kind of declared it because we were doing this mastermind and we had a speaker come in and she was saying, why don't you have what you want? And I
Mm.
thought, well, why don't you have what you want? So what I think what was going on there was I felt like I needed to maybe make a sale or do something to deserve it, right? So I kind of examined it later, and when she said that, I thought, well, why don't I have that? And I had to go into an Hermes store to buy it. So if I'd come back to Atlanta, I would have had to go down to Buckhead and find an Hermes. I mean, I don't know where it is, but find an Hermes store here. But because it wasn't online, that was part of my problem. Is I had waited until it sold out online, and so there wasn't available anymore. I had to go into a store, and so I had one day left, and I thought, what is it about that we feel like we have to deserve good things?
Right.
And I think that that part. I kind of think back to my mother. She deserved more than she claimed, and I think she felt like she had to really, it was everything she did was hard. So, if I do hard work, then I get rewarded. And I
Right.
think there's something to that of, yes, that's true. You do get hard work is part of being an entrepreneur. It's part of being in business. It's part of making sales. It's difficult. It always has been. Otherwise, people wouldn't go out of business in 5 years. A lot of people do. they go out of
Right.
business. But I think as women, right, especially women business owners, we can deny ourselves things, and then it makes us feel either more self-righteous. One
Yeah.
thing, sometimes that happens. Like,
Right.
we don't deserve it yet. We need to earn that. Or it could be that we need to sacrifice. We're going to sacrifice that because we have too much to do on our business. We need to buy a VA. We need to do this. We need to do that. And, you know, we kind of, I think that's what I was just doing. I was thinking, well, I need all these things, and, summer is going to be a little slower. And should I actually get this? Do I deserve it?
Mm.
Should I sacrifice something for it? But you don't consciously think those things. They're down deep. You kind of have to look and see, where is this coming from? Why was I procrastinating? Normally, I just go get it. But for some reason, that weekend or that week, I didn't. But when I
No.
declared it in front of the group, this is one thing we can all
Yes.
do. Like, when we declare our goals or we declare what we want in front of groups, it keeps us accountable, not just to ourselves, but to the group. And it keeps you from hiding. So I
Absolutely.
would just like, that's good. That's a good takeaway here of, if you have a business and it's not going well,
Hmm.
you could go out to your audience and say, hey, I'm trying to build something. Come with me.
Yeah.
Watch me as I build. That's a leader that would
Yeah.
do that.
Right.
Show, it's like showing your work, right? Don't
Yeah.
tell, just show. Or you could go out to friends that are business friends and say, hey, keep me accountable. I'll keep you accountable. Let's name our goal, and then let's hit the goal together. Because I think that there's, otherwise we hide.
That's right. We
We go,
do.
well, I don't know. It's not good enough.
And it was so funny because when you finally put on the group that you did this video that you
I
purchased,
did.
that you got right, it was like this whole big thing. Like we all like praised you, we all like applauded. Like finally, she's got this scarf that she's been like following for months. You know, right?
So
It was so
now,
cool to
yeah,
watch.
yeah. So now I have this beautiful 90-inch Hermes scarf that I've wanted for months and months and months. And it gives me a lot of joy. Every time I see it, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
Right.
Ooh.
But that just also shows you, like, no matter which level you are in your business, there's still things that we're actually
Sure.
fighting,
Yeah,
right?
there's mindset. And
Exactly.
every level you move up, right? Every level
Yes.
you move up, like, there's another mindset thing that comes up for me. And I think for everybody, there's this feeling of, wait, I thought I fixed that. No, I didn't.
Right.
Now you move up into another level and you're like, oh, I thought I fixed that too.
Yeah.
So it's not uncommon. And I think that, I'm one of the more self-confident and maybe even successful people out there. And I mean, come on, right? Why, I didn't even know why I was doing what I was doing. But
Yeah.
when I examined it, there's a subconscious fear of failure. And so, what if I get the scarf and then I don't deserve it? I don't get clients again. Or what if I
Right.
get the scarf and I regret it? What if I get the scarf and there's all these what ifs in your mind, and it's fear of failure, or fear of loss. Those are the two biggies.
Definitely. Definitely. Oh my goodness. So I want to go back to the fact that you are a high ticket closer, right? Like you do luxury brands.
I
Clearly,
do.
because you got the Hermes scarf, right? You love your
Yes,
luxury brands.
I
You
do.
took me into the Tiffany store. We like walked around and saw all these different jewelry pieces and everything. And I remember you saying, "Oh, I got that. Oh yeah, I got that. And I got that." Right?
I
So
like my Tiffany's. I'm
you do,
sorry.
you do. But
I'm
who
not really
wouldn't?
not really sorry. Not really sorry. Not sorry at all, actually.
No. And so
Yeah. So
this is what you
which
teach
what
people in when it comes to sales, right? Not just closing the bare minimum, but like thinking about, having high ticket programs and actually being able to close high ticket for yourself. Is that correct?
Yes, and it's not like a secret. There's a secret society somewhere that does high ticket, and that's there's some like magic pill you take and you're able to sell high ticket. I think there's a cohesiveness to people's businesses they have to think about. If you want to sell high ticket, you have to be pretty much, I mean, you have to be good. You have to be really, really good, and you have to deliver really well, or maybe even be the best in your industry. And that's hard for women to say, and hard for
Ah,
women to think about themselves that way. So I don't
right.
know if you remember this, but in the mastermind, I was like, who thinks they're the best?
Yeah, I do remember that.
And I
And there was
got,
crickets.
And I got a lot of, well, I wouldn't ever say that because that's just disingenuous. And I'm like, well, there, remember you saying that everywhere we went in Vegas, it said they had the best hamburger, the best hamburger, the best hamburger, the best hamburger. Remember that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So other people are saying it, but why can't we say it? And
Mm,
so, there was that feeling of, because I talked to Lisa and I was like, you say you're the top, you say that you're the best, but, and she says, yeah, there's a, there's some kind of mindset sometimes with women where we don't want to say that. And so when I think about, like, if you want you want something to sell something expensive to someone that is affluent or to someone that has the money, maybe
right.
not even affluent, but they have the money, they are looking for this and they want it. You have to be ready to
Mhm.
receive the money. You have to be ready to be the best and have this ROI that's pretty big, right?
Yeah.
And it needs to be cohesive with your brand. So if your brand looks like visually it's not luxury, then it might be harder, not impossible, but it might be harder to sell a higher ticket offer because people don't believe it. It's
That's
not
right.
it's not cohesive, right? So if everything is cohesive, then it's much easier. But also you have to pick a high stakes problem,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So you pick a high stakes problem, and then if you're the only option, if you're the only one that does it, then it's much easier to sell,
Right. Right.
right?
And I would say it's got a lot to do with personality as well, right? And how you're
Personal
putting
brand.
it out there,
Yeah.
right?
And I think your personal brand too. There is a level of people do buy faces. So when
Mm,
you think about, like, Salesforce is a big CRM company, right? But when you think about Salesforce, you don't think about, whoa, there's a face to Salesforce. There's
no.
not a face in Salesforce.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They're doing commercials now, but they're not a face. So it's not as recognizable as, if you think about Apple, you think about Steve Jobs or the current CEO. Think about Sarah Blakely when you think about Spanx. You think about Richard Branson, and that's, Virgin Records, Virgin Airlines, Virgin Cruises, Virgin Travel. It's Richard Branson,
That's
right?
right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we buy from faces. We
Yeah.
don't buy, I mean, we do buy the product, but we fall in love with the face.
This
We
is
fall
why
in
I
love with
say to
the,
everyone to do video podcasting for that exact reason, right? And the fact that you do all these like high ticket sales, right? And you're personable, you're funny as hell, right? As we've seen in this
thanks.
episode, right? You're fun to be around, right? You are a marketing genius because you came up with that Bridgerton thing, right? Like everyone loved it. Like it was freaking awesome. And it was right timing as well, I got to say, right? Because the buzz was all there when it came to Bridgerton,
Yes.
right? Now, because of your personality, right? And you got a big personality, and you're very down to earth at the same time, right? It's very easy to get to know you and hang out with you. With so much fun, right? It
Oh,
makes
good.
it makes it so much easier to wanting to learn from you, right? So this is one of the things that I picked up was that just because you like the bigger brands, now a lot of people will be like, oh no, I'm not ready for that, right? I
Mm-hmm.
can't work with that person because I'm not ready for that, or I'm not good enough for that yet. Yeah, but you make it very easy. And again, right, I guess because you understand the mindset, you're there to help people through the mindset stuff of things, as well as letting them know that they deserve to actually have high ticket programs and learn to sell for that reason.
And I think, too, I think you're right, but I think there's a feeling of, I have to be in business for 10 years before I
Right.
do this, or I have to have, all of my ducks in a row. And I would never know what to put into that because I would have to put so much content into it. And I'm like, the less it would be better, because the higher level your client, or the more advanced your client is, the less they want the busy work, right? The less we want tweaks, right? So it's not that you're getting a whole plan, a comprehensive plan. It could just be the tweaks at the top. It could be that you're bringing in something that no one else can do for them. Maybe you're the only one that understands their mindset and can
Right.
maybe tweak their mindset. It could be that they, need to get to their goals and they're not getting to their goals and it's costing them everything. Or you do some kind of emotional wellness. And
Yeah.
emotional wellness, you cannot put a price on emotional wellness. Like, you could put a price on sales coaching, high ticket sales coaching, or marketing, or whatever you're doing. You can put a price on that, but emotional wellness, You can have $1 million homes, $1 billion homes, and if you're sitting there emotionally unhealthy, you won't enjoy it. You would be
Yeah.
better off to sell your $1 million home and buy emotional wellness coach, right? But also, think about, if you think about your whole system for selling, should have people coming in at lower ticket too, that can't afford this high thing, so that they can aspire to it, right?
Yes.
And then you have this high ticket that sort of frames everything else, and it's now your whole offer suite's working together. You're not having to get 1,000 people in a tiny $7 thing. You can get 100 people,
Yes.
and then you can get 3 people at the top, and you can have the same amount of money.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I know at this point, probably thinking, oh my goodness, we need to get hold of LeighAnn. We need to know how to work with her, connect with her. But I know you've got a cheeky little gift for all of our audience today as well. Is that right?
I can't remember what I told you I was going to give you. Is that awful?
No, it's not awful.
I think I have a download. I have several downloads. So I think it's the 10 ways to get high ticket clients in your consulting and coaching business. I believe that's what I said. I have 3. I have 3 opt-ins.
Yeah,
They all 3 good.
it's how you can sell anything at any price. Luxury frequency.
Mm. Oh, I think that's my webinar. I could do that. I don't know. I'm ill prepared at this point. We're gonna drink.
Sorry, here it is. It's the Premium Clients Guide.
Okay, so it's 10 ways. I list out 10 ways to get high ticket clients, so find them. So how do you find them?
So we're going to edit that bit. So if you say
that's good, because I was like, I don't know what's like. It actually was kind of funny though.
And that'd be cool, because we can put that in bloopers. So if you mention what it's called, and then a short description as to how it's going to help people. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. It's a guide to get high ticket clients. It's basically how to find them. So that's the most common question that I've gotten over the course of several years, is how in the world do I find someone to buy this thing? I've got this high ticket thing. I've got a $30,000 offer, or a $50,000 offer, £100,000 offer. Who in the world would buy this, and where would I find them? And so I have a little guide I put together that has 10 different ways that you can either do research, go find them, go talk to them, have conversations with them, start getting into those worlds, because it might be online. Sometimes it is. Most of the time it's in person. And so you have to kind of get creative about who these people are and how you're going to meet them. And once you get into some circles, it gets easier to get into other circles, and it makes it easier to get into other circles too. But I think it likely that people in your audience are waiting for something higher ticket from you.
Right.
Even if you don't use this guide for that,
yeah.
I bet people already in your world are waiting for something that is pretty fast, has some elements of being really taken care of, feeling very seen and noticed and understood, deeply understood. And they want results that they have not gotten from anybody else, and they understand they're going to have to buy it. So those people are in your audience. I know they are. Because I always have people go, well, I don't have the right audience. I bet you have a few.
Yeah.
I bet you do. I bet you know some people. And so if you don't know very many people, you don't have an audience, and build your audience.
Definitely. Now, guys, make sure that you go scroll down, because all the links will be in the show notes. So make sure you do reach out to LeighAnn and check her out on social media, because we're going to have all the links that have been mentioned, not only here, but also on her social media down below. So make sure you go ahead and scroll down. LeighAnn, oh my goodness, it was so awesome to have you on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Make Your Mark podcast at www.makeyourmarkpodcast.com. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get this and every other episode that comes out. We have lots of great stuff coming, so make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss it. And thank you in advance for all the reviews and comments. I appreciate it so much, and I look forward to serving you in next week's episode.